DJI Mini 3 update. All the latest. Got that coming up next. Bill the Drone Reviewer here. If you like the content of this video or anything on my channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. With that, let's begin. The other night I hosted Rotor Talk Live and was joined by very special guests Johnnie Alfonso, Johnnie Drone Flyer, and Ray Kelly, Captain Ray Kelly. We discussed all the latest regarding the DJI Mini 3, including the release date, pricing, specs, and a whole lot more. So without any further ado, let's roll that clip in its entirety. We're at that point in the program that, you know, it's Mini 3 time. And what we're going to do is I want to go through a lot of the tweets from Deals Drone and Jasper Ellens. And then I want to go through one of the articles from, I think it was from Drone DJ. And then we're going to kind of try to get some perspective on this because I've gotten a lot of questions about, you know, the release date and when the product's going to ship and, you know, the specs and everything and pricing and all that. So I'm going to take this step by step here. So
I love the leaks. I love these leaks, you know,
I do
they're
too.
really purposeful leaks by DJI. You know,
Absolutely,
to get people excited about it.
Very strategic.
It's all about marketing.
Yes, Ray, you are 100% right. And DJI has gotten very smart with that because you know what? Here's how much this is costing them. All right, it's not costing them a dime, and they're getting all this publicity from this, which I think is fantastic. Okay, this is from Deals Drone. 829 euros has been confirmed on 2 dealer site. Okay, now of course this is in another language. And I don't know what that language is, but, you know, you're seeing, and apparently, I don't know if these are options down here or not. So now we're going to move on.
Priced right. That's, you know, not too expensive.
I also received news that the release date of the Mini 3 Pro has been changed to May 10th. It is unlikely DJI will be delayed again. So we will see the teaser poster on May 2nd or 3rd. Okay. That's just a, that.
Which
now,
is very
Jasper
soon,
Ellens,
yeah.
so the latest Mini 3 Pro render I saw in a Chinese article. I'm sure all promotion pics will leak soon too. People can find this. The rest is just too close to ignore. And then he talked about joining his Facebook group. Now, I've seen these different EU stories listing the Mini 3 Pro's configurations. This is why I had no doubt about them. But it appears the shops have learned how to hide their products. Usually when I tweet something like this, we will see a spec sheet soon. Ciao. And I'm going to bring this up here. DJI Mini 3 Pro Fly More Kit, DJI Mini 3 Pro single unit, DJI Mini 3 Pro with DJI RC remote controller, DJI Mini 3 Pro smart with a smart controller, and I don't know what the difference is here with this, but we see some prices. And I think, you know, of course, you know, this is just the Fly More kit, and that's just for a single, that's just for the drone itself. And this is with the remote controller. And I'm not quite sure what this one would be on the end down there. So
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that one would be. I could understand that. And we talked a little bit about Drone Nation last night that I think it was $699. If you had the controller from the Mini 2, and you know that's really probably not a bad price at $700 if you had the controller already. Of course, if you don't, you may want to, you know, buy the one with the controller, and I guess that's with one battery. So
they're going to let you actually buy just the drone? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Johnny?
yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they'll let you buy the drone without a controller, right? And
which I think is a smart move because, you know, if you had the Mini, if you had the Air 2S, the Mini 2, you got the same controller in the Air 2S. Mm-hmm. So the Air 2S and the Air 2. So you got the same controller, like you got the same controller 3 times. So
yeah.
I've never tried to swap mine out. Have any of you tried to swap yours out?
I have not.
Yeah. It's going to be real interesting to see how that works. But I think it's also a smart move with DJI because I think that means what we're going to see here, and we're going to go over this article here in a second. I think what that means here is you'll see a DJI RC remote controller, whatever they're going to call this, a la carte, meaning just by itself so you can buy that and add that to the drone if you want. And maybe instead of getting a Flymore kit, you get a couple of batteries instead, and then buy your own case.
Yeah,
That's
the controller with the display, which is, I guess, is not a true smart controller, but it does have a display.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay. This article on Drone XL, the launch date of the Mini 3 Pro is rumored to be delayed until later in May. And then the release date is May 10th, Jasper Ellens says. It's unclear why it would have been delayed. One possible reason is the drone maker wants to make sure the drone is completely finished with all features, operational and ready to fly. DJI wants to prevent another Mavic 3 debacle. Flagship drone was shipped to customers without many of the promised features. Still is ongoing satellite issues 6 months later. Okay. And then alternately, possibly more likely, DJI could be faced with COVID-19 related shipping and supply issues as the virus recently flared up in China. And I want to talk about this for a second here. A lot of people don't know they are super stringent over in China with their lockdowns. I mean, I was seeing some things about that on the news. I mean, their people are basically locked in their places. They're not going out, and they have a zero tolerance policy. So I think that a lot of things have slowed down in China to a crawl. But as I said before, we're going to talk about the shipping of this. I think the product is already here. But we're going to talk about that here in a minute. And we're going to go to this article here. Mini 3 Pros appeared on the website of a Dutch retailer specializing in RC, including most important specifications. The Mini 3 will have a 1/1.3 inch CMOS sensor with support for HDR video. Recordings are possible in 4K, 60 frames per second. Photos can be taken in 48 megapixel RAW. APAS 4.0 ensures safe flight operations. I want to stop right there, guys. 4K, 60 frames per second on a mini drone.
It's going to be an amazing camera. There's no doubt about it.
I mean, it used to be, as far as in DJI's consumer lineup, you had to get a Phantom 4 Pro to get that.
And we're talking about a mini now.
And we're talking, yeah, exactly. How far this technology has evolved. It's come down to get down to the mini. And I think that's incredible.
It really is.
Because Phantom 4 is trust me, it was one of my favorite drones ever. I really love my Phantom 4 Pro V2.0. But, size, and that's the name of the game, okay? And we're going to a whole new platform, and and I want to talk about something here in a minute. Now, filming in 4K 60 frames per second, 48 megapixel RAW photos, obstacle detection, flight modes, flight time, active track 4.0, spotlight 2.0, point of interest 3.0. It's going to have APAS 4.0. And I know you guys talked a little bit about this last night, and this is something that has really piqued my interest in this drone. A battery that goes for 47 minutes. Okay.
That's a long time.
Bill, I was just sitting here thinking about that. Are we really now? Are we getting what we wish for? Because you're like me, man. 47 minutes in the air would be like, oh my God, I'm ready to come down.
You better have a big SD card in your drone. Yeah. I got to tell you that.
Yeah, somebody said it last night. You'd have to change the SD card before the battery runs out.
Yeah, that's and it's a good problem. But if you realistically, I mean, you think about it, and let's say for argument's sake, you're probably going to get more like maybe 35 to maybe 40 minutes. Okay,
that's a long time though.
With the weather and wind and all that kind of good stuff. But even that, I mean, I've gotten almost a half hour on my Mavic 3. Okay, not quite, about 25 minutes. Okay, which I think is incredible. All right. And I've never had the occasion to need to film something for more than 20 minutes, okay? But I think, this 47, it really intrigues me. And I think that's great, especially if you're on a shoot. And I think they're kind of making a statement with this. They're saying this just isn't for hobbyists, okay? You could be a professional and get this drone and, 4K 60 frames per second, be able to shoot some great scenery, and have that runtime up there to get some great shots.
You'll see a lot of professionals starting to use it. They will be, no doubt about it.
I agree. And I think one of the other things that we see here, okay, obstacle detection, APAS 4.0, active track, this was software again. There was a point in time, it wasn't on the lower class drones. It was only on the Phantom series. Okay. And now, what you're getting on this Mini 3 is just awesome. I mean, it's just incredible. I'm just really tickled about this drone.
Yeah, I would agree, man. Just the flight time and the characteristics of what the camera is going to be. I know Lon talked about, I have the Autel Nano, and of course the low light capability of that drone is a little bit different. But this drone here will definitely be a great drone to have in your backpack, and the smaller, and what we always lose track of in the United States, it's not a big deal for us, but in other parts of the world, it's definitely a big deal under the 250. So, we're a very small, sales in the United States as far as the whole DJI is concerned.
Yeah.
But, they'll do absolutely. It'll be the drone to get. I can tell you that.
It will be. That's a good point, Johnny. It really is, and I don't worry about it so much here, obviously.
No.
But in Europe, over there, they worry about
Warren has talked about, especially up in Canada, there's different classes of licenses up there. And, with this kind of a drone, you don't, this kind of skirts a lot of that. And same over in Europe and other countries as well, too. And I think that's why, one of the things that I really like in what I'm seeing from looking at a lot of the pictures and taking a good long look at it, I think one of the things that really hasn't been talked about is how aerodynamic this is going to be. And I think how it was built to be able to withstand wind. Okay. Because everybody thinks a 250 or sub-gram drone, oh, it's going to get pushed around like crazy. Look out. It's not going to do. No, I think they have done their homework with this. I think it's going to withstand wind extremely well. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at how well this drone flies.
Yeah, the angle of flight is definitely going to be, like the Nano we were talking about last night. It flies flat, and that's what makes it really slow, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But the Mini 2 gets up and goes pretty damn good. So if the 3 is like that, it'll even be faster. And Lon was thinking, I think it'd be somewhere between 35 and 40 miles an hour.
Well, I had flown my original Mini, and I know you're talking about the Mini 3 here, but the original Mini was so light, the wind affected that drone, and it was the wind warning would go on so much.
Yeah.
It did. And I hope that doesn't happen with this drone. And you're probably right, Bill. It won't.
I don't think it will, Ray. And I think, and I agree with my Mini 2, it would be like I'd get up there and be like, oops, wind warning, and there's sometimes you can ignore them and other times you really can't. Okay. And you got to pay attention. You got to be real careful with that, because next thing you're filing a claim with State Farm, or you're contacting DJI Care Refresh because, your drone went in the water or crashed or is not recoverable. And, you're really out of luck at that point in time. And
what's the wind level? Did I see that anywhere? Or have we not?
No, that's a good point, Johnny. That has come across
level 5 again.
I would think, but it's just funny that I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it's not out there. I'm sure it is, but
I haven't really seen anything on that. And I think one of the other things that I wanted to mention tonight was, and I know you guys talked a little bit about it last night, is, conspicuously, this hasn't hit the FCC database yet.
Right.
And, that, a lot of people are worried about it. And here's what I say about this. Okay. The Spark, when it was released, it didn't hit the FCC database until the actual release date.
Really?
And that's perfectly fine. It's just, they already have their approval from the FCC. Okay. That's a done deal. That's not a problem. But a lot of people are all hepped up about it and everything. One of the things that I wanted to talk about with both of you, okay, we've seen all we've kind of seen and got a good idea what the pricing and the structure is going to be and everything regarding that. I see a lot of people who are, I don't know if I want to use the word complaining, but, upset about the pricing and upset because, it's a higher price and everything. And, a couple of things I want to say, and then I want to hear your guys' thoughts. First thing is, and I've always said this, is, there's a lot that goes into these drones, okay, with research and development, okay? It doesn't just, these drones just don't happen by accident. Yeah. And you can see the Mini 3 is a totally radical new design, completely different from the Mini 2. I mean, they did this from the ground up, all right? You get a lot of value for your dollar with DJI drones, okay? And realize something too, okay? When you look at the specs of this drone, okay, this really is geared toward, I'm going to call it upper level hobbyists, okay? Ones like us who are, knowledgeable and want to get some great, video or pictures and on a great platform, okay? This isn't the kind of drone that I think a 20-year-old or a 25-year-old is going to go out and buy, okay? The Mini 2 is going to be around for a while, and that's going to be the kind of drone for them. But for this Mini 3, I think you're looking at people who've been around drones for a while, people who know what they're doing with them, and really get the most out of them. And I want to hear your guys' thoughts on this.
Yeah, no, I agree, Bill. The only thing, price wise, I bought the Nano and it was $900. And I will say this, I know a lot of people wigged out, but for what it does in the way it's flying, I know, Marcus, they had a, problem over in Florida, but they're still working on that. I hope they, Autel does something about that. But, I don't think, phones up, computers up, food's up, everything is up. So I don't think we're going to get, I say, we want all these features and we're going to have to pay for it. You got to step up to the plate. And, even a bigger battery, that battery, I think we'll put that drone over 250, the battery that'll get you to 47 minutes. So, they're going to give you some options, but they all give you an option to buy the drone without a controller, which will save you. I don't know what a controller is, $100, probably 119. But, we want, we're kind of getting what we wish for, besides Apple. If you think about it, if you look at other prices of computer parts, they have went up. Apple has kind of held their price because they're so big and manufacture a lot of their own parts. But, DJI, I just don't think we're going to see, if you want to buy a $299 drone, hey, you're going to get the SE.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have to step up to the plate if you want something good.
It's true though, and again, I'm not a big fan of spending a lot of money on like a starter drone type of thing.
Right.
Get your feet wet with a less expensive drone. And I like the idea that DJI is going to separate it. You could just buy the drone, that's a good thing. But somebody who's just getting into the hobby, this is not a drone for them.
Right.
Like you just said, Johnny, the Mini SC is a good starter drone. And I'm going to wait and see. I'm not going to rush right out and buy it. That's for sure. Because, I got the Air 2, I got the Air 2S, and of course I got the Mini, the Mavic 3, and I love those drones. And they're not really big drones. I mean, you're talking Mini versus a Mavic. I carry my Mavic in my backpack now, and it goes with me on most days. It's in my car.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically, I think what it's going to do is taking a place of the Air 2. The Air 2 will no longer be. So you'll settle in with the SE, the Mini 2, the Mini 3, the Air 2S, and then the Mavic 3.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of going to be your lineup, anywhere from $299 to $2,200. I think I actually reduced the Air 3 and Mavic 3 to about $150 recently.
Yeah, they did not
kind of weird and kind of quick that they did that, but hey, I'm sure they got a reason for it.
Akarasho asked a real good question. Does the Mini 3 squash a future Air 3? I would say yes. I don't think you're going to see. I think you're looking. The Air 2S is going to be the last iteration of the Air that you see, and that's unfortunate because I think you guys will agree that's an incredible drone. Okay. The Air 2S. It does almost everything that the Mavic 3 does in a smaller package, easier to transport, just a real joy to fly that drone. It's really a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it'll last a 2 or 3 more years easily. Well, even longer than that. Yeah, and I see drone guy saying to Johnny the SE is discontinued, which probably it is, I guess. So it'll be the Mini 2, the Mini 3.
The drone guy saying the SE's discontinued. Man, that's interesting. Yeah.
And SE was a combination of kind of the Mini 1 and the Mini 2, I guess. It was the Mini 2 motors, you know, with the camp, you know.
I know one thing. I like the name of that channel, The Drone Guy.
Well, in one of the things, and we kind of touched on this a little bit, but I think being able to, buy, if you want to buy the drone by itself, if you want to buy it and, get that remote controller, you can do that. If you want to buy the Flymore kit separately, you can do that. This kind of started when the Mavic 2 came out, because what they did was, with the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom, and the Flymore kit was in a separate box, which I thought was absolutely fantastic, because we saw it when we were in Brooklyn. And I said, you know what? This makes a whole lot of sense. Instead of just having this massive box with everything in it, sell that separately. And that's what they did. And then, one of the things that I have noticed that DJI does, though, which they kind of early on, if you want a lot of these options, all right, I think what DJI does is, for example, with the Flymore kits, these extra you won't be able to buy extra batteries, for example, or extra props right away, because what happens is they save those for the Flymore kits, all right? And it'll maybe a month or so down the road before you can buy those, because I've tried doing that before.
Yeah, remember when the Mini 2 came out? They were selling batteries on eBay for like 50 bucks more, because people had bought the Flymore. And if you ordered just a one battery, you couldn't get an extra battery for a long time.
You couldn't. And that was and then I learned, after doing that, one of the times that I think it was when I bought the Air 2, Air 2S. No, when I had the Air 2, I was trying to, I just bought the drone by itself. I was going to buy another battery and a couple other things. These accessories weren't available for at least another 30 or 45 days. Yeah. And it's really, it's frustrating until I figured out exactly what was going on, that they were saved for the Flymore kits. And that's why it was like that. So, I mean, but no, I think they've done a good idea.
Kit is the way to go, though. When you're going to buy a drone, the Flymore
kit really is, Ray, because, you really, and again, talking about getting value for the dollar kind of a thing, I think it really kind of does that. Okay. You really get a lot of bang for your buck when you get the Flymore kit. Although I know a lot of people, and I know myself included, those cases that come with the Flymore kit, they're maybe good for a day trip. Okay. They're not good to travel with. Okay. They're like, if you're going out to the beach or wherever or park and going to shoot, those cases are fine. But for, if you travel or doing anything, you need to get a real case.
Yeah, I got about 10 of them under here. I only use the hard cases, but
Yeah, I'm the same way. John.
Alltel, look, same thing. The bagged Alltel came in. You just can't. I don't know. It's just, to me. I got a Mini. I got the Mini right here sitting in a case. That came with it. So.
Yeah, and for me, well, from at home, my controller's already set up with my Mav mount. And it's good to go. I mean, all I need to do is pop the battery in the drone, pop my phone in the cradle and hook it up, and it's good to go. I have it already set up. So I don't, it's like when I travel, it's in the case, but that's the way that I kind of do it like that.
Yeah, Stephen Ewan is making a good point about batteries. They all kind of getting a little picky on shipping batteries lately, seem like.
Yeah, and I think part of this too, and a lot of people don't realize this, and that's a good point, Stephen. Thank you for bringing that up. Is there's chips inside the batteries too, because these batteries are smart batteries. Okay, and I think we kind of touched on a little bit about with what's going on with Apple and the supply and demand thing. A lot of this is because of the chips, and a lot of these chips are made over in China. And for example, when I bought my new car last year, I had to wait a while, and it's because of the chips. That's just kind of the way it was with this right now. So, that's where things are. I mean, pure and simple.
It's just so exciting, though. When a new drone is coming out, all the hype about it, you just get so excited, and you're wondering how it's going to be and when it's going to be released, and how much it's going to be. It's just a lot of excitement. And I'm looking forward to this Mini 3 Pro.
It's going to be good, Ray, and it's going to be good in a lot of circles. And I'm anxious to see how it does in the weather, because living in Florida, we get the weather changes. Wait 10 minutes and it's going to change to something else. And the wind can be pretty good when you're on the coast, either coast in Florida. The wind will kick up, so you got to be prepared for that kind of stuff. And I'm real anxious to see how this drone's going to do in the wind. I'm real excited about that.
Bill,
Yeah.
I was so disappointed. I slept in today, and it was a beautiful sunrise, no wind. I should have got up and went and filmed it
No.
and flew, but I didn't.
Well, yeah, and that's one thing that I notice here is when the sun comes up, the more the sun comes up, that wind really picks up. And when the sun sets, I've noticed like at sunset, it's like almost calm. There's no, there's no kind of problems with that. So
somebody's asking about front legs, and the front legs, yes, but it lands on a battery. I mean, as far as landing on a battery, doesn't it, Bill? It looks like.
Yeah, there's kind of like these protruding, I don't want to call them legs, but I'll call them, for lack of a better term, you probably call them legs, but they're real short little plastic pieces on the bottom of the drone.
Right. Yeah, I saw that.
So I don't know about that. So
So Bill and Johnny, are you guys going to get the Mini 3 when it comes out?
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm not gonna beat around the bush and say maybe yes, I'm getting it.
Yeah, and Ray's right. There's a lot of excitement when a drone gets released with good cause, and part of this is the community builds up the excitement, which is good. And DJI absolutely loves it because it gives them a ton of publicity. And the other thing that they've gotten really smart is that they do these releases online. That they're not, they don't hold an event anymore because those events cost them a lot of money. I mean, they were great. They were first class, but it cost them a lot of money.
Yeah. I will say though, people in the chat, if you're thinking about getting a Mini 2, and I mean, don't wait. The Mini 2 is a great drone. It's the price point's will be a lot better. And, you will love the Mini 2. So, don't be afraid to get a Mini 2 just to say, hey, I'm going to wait and, spend $400 or $500 more on a Mini 3. I don't say that you would need it, but the Mini 2 flies really, really good. And Ray brought up the point about the Mini. The Mini is very light, and it did have, wind problems or wind warnings. And you even get them very seldom do you get them on a Mini 2, but the Mini 2 is a great drone for the value right now. And it's been reduced a little bit too with the platform. So you can pick up a great drone for $499, I think it is, maybe.
Yeah. Well, the Air 2S has been, they've been discounting that as well too. So, it's a good time right now. Question of the day: what did you think of the DJI Mini 3 latest update? Let me know in the comments section below. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, it's a great day to fly.